What's up?
Welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I'm Morrow, this is Miecca. We're back with some more RPG horror stories. Mike and I have a couple of friends that we know personally that are kind of interested in D&D, that understand what D&D is all about, they just never tried it before. I know how to DM, and Mike is pretty good at DMing. Why don't we just invite a bunch of friends and just DM some games?
Some people that are kind of always, forever DMs? Yeah, forever DMs who also would like to be players. I think it would be nice to have new people, new blood join in.
In the middle of it, I sort of moved the camera upwards, so if you're watching the video and the camera looks different, I mishandled the camera. Anyway, let's get to some RPG horror stories before...
Ask me to do some stuff, and then he just ruins it more. It's just...
I'm sorry, please.
It's just a Morrow thing at this point.
Let's get some RPG horror stories for today. New player, DM only cares about him having fun. Let me preface this by saying that I'm a new D&D player. I've never played before except for Baldur's Gate 3, if you count that as D&D. I think it's okay to count as D&D. I've known a lot of people that looked at Baldur's Gate or that played Baldur's Gate and they go, you know, I never tried D&D. I want to try. Actually, a lot of our friends want to do that as well. And they just get interested in D&D immediately. So yeah, that's a normal thing. I got invited by a friend to join his D&D table. It was a group of 7 where half of them played before the half didn't. The DM, who is the friend, had some experience with one-shots. I didn't know what to expect, but what was sold was a beginner-friendly campaign using a pre-made campaign. First few sessions were okay. We were going through combat relatively easy. My character was getting stronger, and I was mostly okay with it, except for one thing, player agency. I didn't feel like I had any choice in anything, as most of the time I was never offered to roll on things, and whenever I spoke, I felt like my actions or words had zero impact on things. But it was the first few sessions, so I didn't really care that much. For a while, when Mike and I were first playing D&D, we genuinely didn't even know if there's something we could actually physically do. So we were like, I'd like to do this. Can I do this? It was just a very confusing experience. So in this situation, it feels like you are trying to make suggestions of what you want your character to do, but they're just not working. It could be a slight miscommunication of misunderstanding what things are and what kind of actions you can actually do within D&D. And your DM maybe not understanding what you're trying to do.
Especially if you're running a campaign, a beginner-friendly campaign. If you make that known, be ready for a lot of questions. I mean, yeah, when me and Morrow first played, there was even the simple question: hey, can I push this body into the water to distract the sharks? Yeah, sure, go for it. Okay, push the body into the water,
honestly
and me and Morrow managed to survive.
When the fact that we could do that, I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna love this game so much. Later on though, I noticed he started to make combat harder and harder. I would get angry whenever he didn't get good rolls to make things worse. At one point, he got angry with me because I corrected him on the use of one skill. Yes, I searched a skill on Google, and purposely changed it to try to kill me, and told me so, although he couldn't finish the deed. At that point, I got really angry with the situation and wanted to quit the group, but was persuaded by my girlfriend to stay because they're my friends. So I didn't quit. Yeah, what? So wait, your DM tries to get you to learn D&D, but is now doing things to try to kill you in D&D? What is this DM doing?
I know, there has to be something missing, right?
Has to be. It feels like there's something missing here, significantly. Either things are being left out of the story, or the DM is not telling what they're telling. It feels like something's missing, but let's keep going. Maybe we'll get a clue into what's going on. I decided to voice my concern a week before the last session, discussing the limited agency, challenging combats, and what felt like intentional sabotage. Surprisingly, the DM acknowledged these issues, expressing a desire for more role-playing and suggesting players initiate roles. Despite this, during the last session, I found myself facing impossible tasks and forced conflict that led to a PC's death, and just general chaos. We short rested in a dungeon after 2 combat encounters. We were cursed and forced to kill each other. Whoa. Okay. The DM maybe should have said the DM maybe should have said hey, if you rest here, you're gonna get cursed. Did DM pull a gotcha? It sounds like DM maybe pulled a gotcha on the players.
It sounds like a DM pulled a gotcha.
When I asked the DM privately about these decisions, the response was, have you not realized that I can do whatever the hell I want? Technically, yeah. But also it's kind of a cruddy thing to do. It's a really crappy thing to just be like, I am the DM. I am God of the universe. I can do whatever the hell I want. And you, as my victim, the player, the audience member, you just have to suffer the consequences because I decided. It kind of makes it sound like a a prick. Whenever you just take away any sort of agency from the player, and whenever you get any sort of criticism and you say, I could do whatever I want, you can't say nothing, you can't do nothing. What is this animosity? Do you dislike each other? Does he dislike you over something? What is happening? There's something going on in the background that is not being told. There's something being purposely left out.
Just feels so out of left field. Like, how did we go from, hey, here's a beginner friendly campaign, and then to go to, I'm gonna kill off the entire party? That's not beginner friendly. Unless this DM genuinely only did this for the one reason of, I want to do a beginner friendly campaign so that I can take advantage of these beginners. That's what it seems like. That's actually what it seems like to be going on here. So there seems to be stuff missing, and again, that's where it's kind of hard with these stories, where it's more from one perspective. But yeah.
This was the breaking point, and I made the decision to quit the group. Maybe that's normal, but I'm here to have fun. And I was clearly not having fun. It's not normal, okay? I'm going like what is that character from South Park? He goes, okay.
It's the teacher, yeah. It's like maybe Mr. Anderson. I haven't watched South Park in forever.
DMs pulling this stuff on players is bad, okay? And most DMs would want players to have fun, okay? So DMs out there, please don't harass your players, okay? And let them just have fun and have player urgency, okay? You got a really bad experience, and I'm sorry you did, because you probably deserve a way better first-time experience. Clingy player tries to romance another player in and out of game, gets told no, and then freaks out when another player dates the same person. Part 2. This is a part 2 to a previous story. Video links in the description below. If I don't put the links in the description below, somebody in the comments remind me so that I can put it back in. I'd appreciate it.
Just spam his comments and be like, yo, link. Don't even say anything, just say link.
Like, yo, you forgot the link,
spam
Morrow.
Spam.
Anyway, story is, Fighter is into OP and thinks of himself as like, first he's a lone wolf, but now he's apparently like an alpha male. OP doesn't like Fighter, but Fighter likes OP. OP then starts having a conversation with the Ranger and becoming friends, and they start getting along together, right? When Fighter finds out that OP and Ranger went on like the first date together, he just throws the biggest hissy fit ever and basically starts going to a full meltdown and try to get these guys to like break up, basically. Now that we're recapped, let's get to the story. Hello again, people. Again, English is definitely not my first language, so please don't mind if the grammar might be a bit off in some places if I'm using too many commas. Maybe someone is as confused as I was when I found out the story didn't end where I thought it ended. Like I briefly mentioned in the first post, I reconnected with the Ranger when I decided to write the main story and post it. Well, sometimes you're surprised by what happens next. So a short recall of the important cast. Paladin, woman in her early 20s, a friend that brought me into the first story. Ranger, guy in his mid-20s, was the other target of hatred in the first story. Ranger's husband, Ranger's boyfriend at the end of the first story, now his husband. Fighter, young guy in a former group, 19, prob in the first post, and this time again. And, well, not me, I'm just the narrator this time. Just a day ago, I met with Ranger and his husband, and we just casually talked about what happened in the last years. Most of it was really just small talk, though they told me they really enjoyed reading this story, even if Ranger's husband said he couldn't understand why Ranger tried talking to Fighter after everything that happened. He was also very curious about what happened back then and asked a lot of questions, because of course my post was a summary and he wanted to know the whole story. Turns out he didn't know the story at all, and then came the real surprise. Let's go back in time a bit. When Ranger didn't tell me back then, I don't know why, was that Fighter did not end his crusade against him. I assumed Fighter was still into me, or had no way of contacting me after I blocked him, or both, which is why he focused all his anger on Ranger. Since he knows Ranger way longer, he made more ways of contacting him, and Ranger couldn't sever all of them. So Fighter used that, and seemingly limitless amount of fake accounts to harass Ranger for months after the actual events. What a freaking incel move. Imagine getting so butthurt that you didn't get together with the one person you were flirting with. Listen, just because you're talking with somebody doesn't mean they owe you a relationship. And that's the problem with this guy. He thought that he deserved a happy relationship. But like, guess what? People have feelings for other people as well. And it's fine for somebody else to talk to somebody else. If it's not official, it's not official. So let people be loose. This guy's like, I deserve a happy relationship. I deserve this. I deserve that. I'm alpha male, sigma male, grindstone, whatever. I don't know. And he was like, you two gotta break up now because my Fifi's hurt. It was basically just that. But to make a bunch of fake accounts, Fifi is like feelings, not pee-pee. Jesus. But to go and harass and have a harassment campaign with alternate accounts, that's low. That's extremely low. That's like scum level low. It slowed down over the time though, until he only verbally attacks Ranger about once or twice a week. Christ. Jesus. Ranger just commented on that with, maybe I was just his vent or whatever. He had a bad day, but didn't bother to answer or read any of that. He also didn't block the accounts after the 10th or so, since it wouldn't make fighters stop. He put all of the accounts on all social media on private though, and checked his friends list to see if Fighter was still around somewhere. That gave him some more peace, but he didn't care much anyway. Sadly, the police couldn't do much about this in the time, since they couldn't prove that this was Fighter. At least the accusations mentioned in the first part didn't go unpunished. This low-boiling conflict went on for half a year, which, if you remember, was the time Ranger and his later husband became a couple who were about to end the D&D story. Ranger had no idea how Fighter came to know this, but only a day after he made official that he had a boyfriend. Fighter came back with a barrage of verbal attacks against him over any possible channel. Still, Ranger chose to ignore that. But I remember that he asked on the server back then if anyone was still in contact with Fighter. The answer was of course a general no, but I assumed that someone was still telling Fighter all this stuff. However, he got the info. Fighter was seemingly fixated on spoiling Ranger's relationship and again tried to flood all of Ranger accounts with hate speech. The accusations range from being just interested in one thing over being completely unfit for a functioning relationship. I admit I laughed at that moment because of the sheer irony. The straight up accusations of crimes against other guys. This guy is going with the whole, he's past the like alpha mindset, he's on the incel mindset right now. Leave people alone. They're happy. He's not even a beta, he's a cuck. He's an incel cuck. But either way, this guy's just being absolutely abhorrent for no reason, instead of just letting it go and living his life. So much time wasted to harass a person that didn't even do anything wrong. He's harassing somebody because he mad, so therefore he harass. It's so stupid. While in the meantime, Paladin told Ranger that Fighter also contacted her with a new account and tried to influence her into talking with him again, but she blocked the new account as well, after he started off with a bad comment about Ranger. Several people on the server later said the same thing, and general post was put online so that everybody knew whose account that was and what he was up to. This was after I left the server, so I didn't know that. I have to admit, the most people on this server seemed to be quite reasonable. This again didn't last long, until Fighter's will to constantly harass Ranger ran so low that he went back to only text him once or twice a week to blame him for seemingly all his problems. From simple daily problems to all the problems he had with dating. Turns out eventually Ranger did read some of the text, but the reasons was hilarious. For some reason, he and Paladin thought it would be funny to just play bingo with all the problem Fighter was blaming Ranger for. I have to admit that this was an idea which would have never crossed my mind, but Ranger is the type of person to just do something like that. I wonder what the reasons are. Ranger, I hate you so much. My dick stopped working last night. I hate you so much. It's all your fault. Ranger, I forgot to pay my taxes.
It's on a 5x5 sheet.
The IRS is calling me right now. They're hounding me. It's all your fault. Ranger, I hit a cat last night. It was the neighbor's cat. The neighbors are very angry. It is all your fault. I put my dick in a disk drive and it went purple. Ranger, I spilled coffee on my lap. It's all your fault. I stubbed my toe. Owie, owie. Fuck you.
Ranger, I can no longer get it up. This is all your fault. And you're
causing me to have an erectile dysfunction. I'm stuck on blue pills forever. You know, they should have played bingo, honestly. Just for fun. I mean, yeah, the guy's like, what, 19 and stuff, thinks he's on like an alpha mindset or whatever. It went on like that for a long while this time, and now I'm even more confused about Fighter throughout than before. Being angry for like a week or two, even if unjustified, that's something I can understand. But doing that all for multiple years might explain why he had that many problems. He was still wasting so much time annoying Ranger. Yeah, this guy is definitely mentally unwell. To go for like several years of harassing somebody, that's not alright.
Yeah, that's
not okay. The dude needs to like take care of himself instead of doing this. This won't help him with anything. in the slightest. But let's get to the part that neither Ranger's husband nor I knew, which made the two of us laugh so hard the people at the neighbor's table in the cafe asked us if we were fine. So after the last heated phase, more than a year had passed and Ranger asked his boyfriend if he wants to marry him, in good old-fashioned way, as I was told. And of course he said yes. But his texts had not stopped, but the Ranger completely ignored all of them in the week leading up to the marriage. He wasn't even sure if Fido actually sent messages at the time. Their great day was finally there, and judging by the picture, it was a wonderful day. Guess who showed up after the ceremony? When the two guys were already happily married. Wait, did he actually show up at someone's wedding, like physically?
No!
Well, I hope it doesn't become like a bad altercation, but let's see this. Let's see how this plays out. If you guess Fighter...
No, this is not good.
As long as it doesn't pull like a gun or something, I think it's still okay, but Jesus Christ.
Oh no! Don't joke about that!
If you guessed Fighter, you're right. Ranger's husband didn't realize any of this, since he had no idea who Fighter was, but Ranger saw him. Someone from Ranger's family took a picture in just the right angle to see Fighter's face. I've never seen someone more surprised than Fighter in that moment. My only assumption could be that he never actually realized that I was not Ranger's boyfriend. So in the end, Fighter seemingly showed so much entitlement that he dared go into a wedding with a presumably aim to crush it, only to realize that Ranger was wedding someone entirely different. That was the moment Ranger's husband and I started laughing, and I couldn't stop for multiple minutes. It was just too absurd. I had no idea that someone could be that crazy, but turns out someone was. Honestly, I'm gonna be saying, crisis averted. Because you never know what kind of a... This guy is a lunatic. He's going for like full years harassing somebody in DMs. I'm fully convinced that he probably went over there to try to hurt somebody. Maybe stab somebody, shoot somebody, I don't know. But I'm convinced that he's going over there to hurt somebody physically and cause
this
pain.
person's not even having this right person that they're angry at.
He had some stalker behavior to know where the wedding, where the wedding is happening. Somebody must have fed him information. I don't know who did, but to know the place where the wedding is happening.
Somebody is enabling this behavior.
Yeah, somebody is definitely enabling this behavior, and whoever it is, you may want to check to see who is actually feeding this guy this crazy lunatic information, and probably remove him from these circles because this is not okay. This is not okay. The good thing about that was that Fighter didn't do anything and left the place shortly after. This was the last time Ranger saw or heard anything from Fighter ever again. We all hope it stays that way. So yeah, that's now hopefully the end of the story, and also the request met. Ranger's husband asked me to post this as well. Hope you all got a laugh, and thanks again for reading. Glad things went good, but also, you may want to invest in some personal private security for all of y'all.
Yeah, I don't think you need to hire security, but you definitely be aware. You definitely be aware of your surroundings. With somebody who's willing to go out of their way to come to a wedding is very sketchy. That's very sketchy.
And you see, here's the thing, right? If the fighter sees this story, they'll realize that it's you and connect the dots. If they're crazy enough to go to someone's wedding, I'm pretty sure they'll be crazy enough to show up at someone's house and find where somebody lives. So be careful out there. That's all I'm saying. Glad things didn't go bad, but be careful out there. That's all I'm saying. And that'll be all our RPG horror stories for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you like what you see here and you like us bantering about these RPG horror stories, consider subscribing for more videos, and leave a like if you don't mind. That really help a lot. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next video.
Bye.